Dwayne Johnson's first product failed so badly that thousands of people booed it to his face. That product was himself. So he rebuilt it in public, kept the parts audiences liked, and eventually put businesses around it. The $7 matter, but not in the way the legend usually gets told. In 1995, Johnson was chasing professional football. He had played defensive tackle at the University of Miami and briefly joined the Calgary Stampeders in the Canadian Football League. Then Calgary cut him. According to the story Johnson has repeated for years, he returned to Florida with only $7 in his pocket. That number later became the name of his production company. It is a perfect origin story, specific, memorable, and just painful enough to stick. But $7 did not buy a company. It marked the moment his original plan stopped working. Football was supposed to be the plan. Johnson had the size, the scholarship, and a place inside a powerhouse Miami program. Yet being near elite players also showed him how narrow the path was. Injuries cost him time. Other players moved ahead. The NFL did not draft him. His short Canadian opportunity ended before it became a career. He was not starting from nowhere. His father, Rocky Johnson, and his grandfather, Peter Maivia, had both been professional wrestlers. That gave him knowledge and access most beginners did not have. It did not give him an audience, a successful character, or guaranteed money. So Johnson entered wrestling. At first, the company presented him as Rocky Maivia, a smiling good guy whose name honored both sides of his wrestling family. He debuted for WWE in November 1996, and the launch looked promising. Within months, he had won the Intercontinental Championship. Then the audience rejected him. The bright outfit, permanent grin, and clean-cut hero act felt manufactured. Crowds began chanting that Rocky sucked. In an ordinary business, that kind of customer response might arrive through a survey 6 months later. In wrestling, thousands of customers deliver it to your face while you are working. Johnson's first big business lesson was brutal and useful. Attention is not the same as affection, and a polished product can still be wrong. Instead of trying harder to make Rocky Maivia lovable, he used the rejection. In 1997, he joined the Nation of Domination and began speaking about himself in the third person. The smile became a sneer. The eager rookie became arrogant, funny, and unusually quick on a microphone. Rocky Maivia disappeared. The Rock arrived. That pivot changed everything because it was built from a real reaction. Fans did not want the approved hero. They wanted the performer who could hear their hostility, throw it back at them, and make the exchange entertaining. The Rock became a repeatable character. The raised eyebrow, sharp suits, catchphrases, pauses, insults, and rhythm were recognizable before a match even began. Johnson was learning brand consistency in the loudest possible laboratory. Every arena tested the material. Every television appearance showed which phrases traveled. Every bad segment produced instant feedback. This was more useful than charisma. It was controlled reinvention. He could keep the core promise, confidence, humor, physical presence while changing the setting. That made the next move possible: Hollywood. Wrestlers had appeared in movies before, but moving from a ring persona to a lasting acting career was not automatic. The Rock was huge, loud, and designed for a live crowd. Movies required him to work at a smaller volume and convince audiences that he was more than one famous gimmick. His early roles leaned on the obvious advantage. He appeared as the Scorpion King in The Mummy Returns and then led the Scorpion King. But a leading role is not the same thing as a durable career. Johnson tried action, comedy, family films, and supporting roles. Some choices worked better than others. The experiments mattered because they slowly separated Dwayne Johnson, the actor, from The Rock, the wrestling character, without discarding the value of either. The breakthrough was less like one perfect movie and more like a portfolio finding its shape. Johnson became especially useful inside existing franchises. Fast 5 gave the Fast and Furious series a new force to push against its heroes. Later, the Jumanji films used his size for comedy as much as action. He could enter a familiar machine, alter its energy, and bring his audience with him. But earning large acting fees still meant getting paid for his time and image. The more important shift was moving behind the camera. Johnson and Danny Garcia had already built an unusual working partnership. They were formerly married and continued working together, with Garcia becoming his manager and business partner. That detail matters because the Johnson business story is often narrated as a solo performance. It was not. Garcia helped build the structure that turned a famous person into an organized company. The division of labor also made the brand less dependent on Johnson personally making every decision. He could remain the face, performer, and audience magnet, while Garcia handled management, deal-making, and long-term business architecture. The public saw one enormous man in a fitted shirt. Behind him was a team deciding which opportunities reinforced the larger story and which ones merely paid well for a moment. In 2012, they founded $7 Productions. The name pointed back to the football cut, but the business pointed forward. Instead of waiting to be offered roles, the company could help develop and produce film and television projects. $7 went on to work on projects tied to Johnson, including Ballers, Jumanji, Jungle Cruise, Young Rock, and other film and television productions. That changed Johnson's position. An actor is hired into someone else's project. A producer can help shape the project, assemble partners, and own more of the process. $7 did not eliminate the studios, networks, or other producers. It gave Johnson and Garcia a seat on the side making decisions, not only performing them. Then they used the same logic outside entertainment. Project Rock turned the training identity into apparel and footwear. Terramana attached Johnson's public image to tequila. ZOA Energy linked a fitness message to a consumer drink. His investment in spring football, which eventually became part of the United Football League, connected his failed first career to a new ownership role. These are different businesses, but the customer bridge is the same person. That creates a powerful advantage and an obvious risk. The advantage is distribution. Johnson does not need to introduce himself every time a new product launches. A huge audience already understands the basic character: disciplined, approachable, ambitious, slightly ridiculous, and always working. His social accounts are not just publicity channels. They are shelves. One interview or workout clip can promote a movie, a drink, a clothing line, and the broader story at once. It also makes each business help advertise the others. A movie keeps him culturally visible. A fitness line keeps him present between releases. A drink puts the brand in stores. A production company creates more reasons for interviews and trailers. None of these products automatically succeeds, but they share a distribution engine most new companies would have to buy. The risk is that everything begins to look like an advertisement. If every workout, family joke, film set, and bottle points back to a product, authenticity can become another carefully managed asset. The same brand consistency that makes the machine efficient can make it feel repetitive. There is another risk. A personal brand concentrates value in one person. A normal company can replace a spokesperson. $7, Project Rock, and the other ventures are closely connected to Johnson's reputation and energy. If the audience becomes bored, distrustful, or simply moves on, several businesses can feel it at once. The cross-promotion works in both directions. That is why the deeper strategy is not be famous and sell things. Fame is rented attention. Johnson's team repeatedly converts attention into structures: a production company, product partnerships, intellectual property, board roles, and ownership positions. In 2024, that arc produced an unusually neat moment. TKO Group, the parent company of WWE and UFC, appointed Johnson to its board. As part of the agreement, he gained ownership of the trademarked name, The Rock. Think about the distance inside that deal. In 1996, WWE introduced a character called Rocky Maivia. The audience rejected it. Johnson rebuilt himself as The Rock, but the company controlled the wrestling platform, and the famous name grew inside that system. Decades later, he joined the board of the company above WWE and received ownership of the name that had powered his career. That is a far more useful ending than the $7 myth. The money in his pocket did not multiply by magic. Johnson kept moving from labor to leverage. Football asked for his body. Wrestling added a character. Hollywood added reach. Producing added control. Consumer brands added products that could sell when he was not on a set. Ownership made the identity itself an asset. And none of it was a straight climb. The football dream failed. Rocky Maivia failed. Some movies disappointed. Some business launches attracted skepticism. The pattern was not perfect prediction. It was using public failure as market research, keeping what worked and rebuilding the package. So the real meaning of $7 is not that anyone can become rich from almost nothing. Johnson had family knowledge, physical gifts, industry access, partners, and luck that cannot be copied. The useful part is narrower. When one identity stopped working, he did not protect it. He replaced it. Which reinvention mattered most? The move from football to wrestling, from Rocky Maivia to The Rock, or from performer to owner? Pick one and tell me why. The answer says a lot about what you think his real business is.